You know, it's an adrenaline rush, and it's hard to explain unless you've done it. This is a blood sport, and you are taking an animal's life. But I think that rush comes from the respect of that animal. You know, I remember shaking, shaking so bad that I almost fell out of the tree. You know, I remember that I left my bow in the tree, and I literally got down and ran straight to the house and waited for my stepdad to get there. Yeah, that was definitely the moment that I got hooked on hunting, for sure. You know, for me, hunting, it's not about killing per se. It's a getaway for me. It's a way for me to, you know, connect with nature. I tell you, if I killed, you know, every time I went out, then I don't think I would enjoy it as much. Half the fun is for me is just to sit out there and watch, you know, deer walk by, you know, deer that I don't want to shoot, or you know, just being out there on a fall crisp morning when it's 35 degrees out and it's cold and chilly and there's frost on the ground and the squirrels are running around and, you know, a raccoon comes out of a tree, or, you know, just stuff like that. I like watching animals in their natural environments. And, you know, obviously the goal is to kill, but, you know, if I don't kill, it doesn't bother me one bit.
Prior to hunting and being in the hunting world, I really thought that it was just about that one shot, that one harvest shot. But really the shot is maybe 1% of the entire hunt experience. I had more fun crawling on my belly after fictional deer than I almost did with the real deer. It's awesome. You get to see things in nature that you would never see ordinarily because you're wearing head-to-toe camouflage, so squirrels don't see you. They don't realize you're there, and you learn about their little sounds and the little battles that they have, and you learn about birds that call in the trees. You feel like you're a part of nature, and I think that's something that gets lost.
And surveys we've done regularly in Michigan as well as all over the place, it's very common that many of the top reasons hunters say they go out there is just to spend time outdoors and spend time with friends and family. I actually, as a kid, did not grow up as a hunter, but I grew up as an outdoors person, backpacking and camping and canoeing and other things. And as I came into hunting later in life, another reason for me to be out there.
Changed a lot. Trees grow. Good job, man.
That was awesome.
All right.
We just got started. We really weren't even hunting yet.
I enjoy eating game. I hunt birds. I've had bird dogs in the past that I use to help hunt pheasants and grouse and things. I hunt turkeys. I hunt deer. I've gone to Montana and hunted elk. I've hunted birds in other states, so I do a lot of it. And I enjoy harvesting animals, but I also do it very much just to be outside and for exercise and other things like that.
Every time they go out, they're not necessarily looking to get a kill. They're just trying to pursue a passion.
I would say that I'm more in touch with nature because of my experiences hunting. It gives me the goosebumps when I think about it, but the idea of being in the woods, regardless, I urge people, even if you never want to hunt, go into the woods one morning before the sun rises and sit down at the base of a tree and hear a few birds over there, hear some squirrels start to get up, and just see the woods come to life.
It was both a very empowering experience for me. Hunting is so much more personal than I thought that it was. I think that every person has a little journey that they go through in their head deciding whether or not they really want to make a harvest. It's something that I had thought that I had wanted in my head, but there's something in this moment of bringing up whatever you're using and lining up your sight and your shots and deciding to take a shot and having confidence in your marksmanship and in your practice and in your range, and knowing that if you do take a shot, feeling confident that it will be ethical and that it will be a one-shot harvest.
And I think when you ask people about hunters, they think it's just all about the kill, and that people want to go out there and harvest a trophy and to put it on their wall, and it's about so much more than that. That's actually, for me personally, that's the least of it all. I want to harvest an animal because I want to eat the meat. What do you think, guys? I didn't grow up hunting. Nobody in my family really hunted. I actually probably leaned more anti-hunting, believe it or not, before I started hunting. And once I started to want to become more connected and better understanding the type of food that I was putting in my body, I got more and more interested in hunting. I harvested my first deer, I think I was in my early 20s, and I've also harvested turkeys and ducks, and now that I have 2 small children at home, it's really important to me to know the protein that we're putting in our body. I think I'd say over half of the protein that we eat in our house is wild. And it's important that my kids understand that you don't just go to the grocery store to get food. We go out into the woods and we do it together as a family. We process together as a family. And they know that that was from a deer. And I think that that's important because you see more and more that people are disconnected from their food. A lot of people these days are interested in knowing where their food comes from, the whole local food movement, the locavore movement, and hunting fits right in with that movement. And so if you're going to take a direct action in that process, you can follow it from the animal that was running free to when it was harvested. You can process it yourself and put it right into your freezer. And I think that's what's intriguing to people. A lot of the alarm sometimes from people about the hormones that are in their food and the different aspects that they can't pronounce all the ingredients in their packaged foods, and that's I think what's really interesting and exciting about eating wild game is that you know where it came from, you know what it was eating, and it doesn't have all the synthetic hormones and hasn't been given antibiotics like a lot of the meat that we sometimes tend to eat.
It's such a personal thing that I really do feel unless you educate yourself a little bit about the world of hunting, it will always seem kind of negative.
Hi, welcome to the Gourmet Gone Wild event. This is a nonprofit organization program to introduce young professionals, people aged 20 to 40, that missing demographic that doesn't really get introduced to hunting. So it's a way to introduce all of you to wild game as a healthy, sustainable food source.
Gourmet Gone Wild is a program that was designed to create at least hunting supporters, people who previously didn't think hunting was a good thing, and get them to at least change their perception to understand why people do hunt.
We host events where we bring in a chef that professionally prepares gourmet wild fish and game dishes.
Yeah, these are all recipes I've worked on through the years. I've been cooking wild game for hire for over a decade now, and I've been cooking my own harvests for 20 years now. It doesn't get more wild than this. That salmon wasn't raised in a pen in the middle of the ocean. It wasn't fed high-protein foods. It's not a GMO. The venison and the squirrel lived free and wild until they didn't. And now we're eating them. And that is the ultimate relationship with your food. When you connect to that story, not only does the experience of hunting do great benefits for your own mental well-being, but you're eating a sustainable, healthy, local protein.
what I'm also trying to build with the Gourmet Gone Wild program is a community of people that support hunting, regardless of if they go hunting. But maybe they want to help me process my deer. Maybe they want to go out in the field with me and look around when I scout areas where I think I may want to put my tree stand, or maybe where I want to sit on the ground and wait for deer to come by. Maybe they want to hear my hunting stories and relive that with me. So there's this whole group of people that you could call hunter supporters.
Open up your eyes a little bit, try something new, and think about hunting differently. Think about it as hunting for food rather than what you always hear of trophy huntings in the news or poaching and all that. And now you know what hunters are actually going out there to get is squirrel meat and rib roulettes and chowder.
Well, there's a lot of different reasons why people engage in hunting. Some people are very focused on the achievement that comes from taking an animal with a big set of antlers or a big set of horns or other things. If they're following the rules and regulations and doing what they're supposed to be doing, if they're showing good judgment, as long as they're engaging in it in a legal way, I don't have any problem with people doing that.
Each one of these animals is a story, I'll tell you. And just been a lot of fun. 60 years of hunting. International big game hunting, I probably started about 1980. My first trips to Africa, stuff like that. I've been in Africa 12 times and hunted, as I say, on 5 continents. These two sheep, one's Candace, one's mine. These are Audads, and they're from Europe. This is the big horned sheep. I got that in the Teton Mountains. The big 5 are the elephant, the lion, the leopard, the Cape buffalo, and the rhino. And if you add the dangerous 7, it's the hippo and the croc. My croc is somewhere on the bottom of the Zambezi River, so couldn't get anybody to go in and get him. And this is my prize, my polar bear. I was telling you that we went out on the ice for a month, and we crossed the Brodeur Peninsula, and we hit the average daily temperature is 30 below zero. And I went off looking for they had to be a male polar bear, and they had to be over 25 years old, and they can tell it by the size of the paw.
There's really a couple big values from my perspective on hunting, okay? So one is that, the fees that people pay for their licenses end up coming back to our agency to help manage the populations that are here. The things that we do with those funds include like purchasing lands. Like there's a public hunting area around here that we're on right now. They pay for folks to be able to monitor and set rules and regulations to make sure that we don't overhunt and drive any species to extinction.
When people go to other countries to hunt, that is a huge part of their income, both to get the hunters there, but then also I think it decreases poaching, like you were saying, because it gives them something to want to keep the animals around for.
People don't realize that without hunting, there probably would not be any animals, because all the money that comes from licensing and everything, like RJ got to go up hunting for the first time this year. Well, his hunting license was $36, and me because of my age, mine's 10, but he's $36 to go out and hunt. But all that money goes into conservation. It was $50,000 because I had to pay the $25,000 tag. Then I had to hire the 3 Inuits for a month. That was another $25,000, and then to come back and have him mounted was another $15,000. This room was built for that elephant. After we got the elephant, we put the addition on, and so the hunt cost $25,000. What did it cost to mount him, honey? 20-some thousand, wasn't it? And the addition cost $450,000. So that was an expensive hunt.
In the United States, there's also taxes on firearm and ammunition, so when a hunter buys those things, actually the manufacturer has paid that in already. That tax goes to the federal government, and then much of it comes back out to the states, again, to support many of those same activities, to manage and conserve wildlife.
In Kenya, they stopped big game hunting about 35, 40 years ago. And immediately the poachers moved in. They didn't have any money to police them, and they killed off 80,000 elephants just for the ivory. Killed off every rhino they have. The only elephants and rhinos they have left are in the state parks. All the other animals, they get killed because there's no money to protect them. So all the money that, and the licensing fee and this, my average trip to Africa probably costs between $35,000 and $40,000. Well, that money goes into the economy, so it's very, very lucrative. Then, but besides that, you got to employ all our people.
Some people are paying for hotels and buying food and gas and going in different areas. A state like Michigan, where we have a lot of public land in our rural northern regions, hunting can be a big part of the economy in places there when you've got large numbers of people that come there almost entirely, if not entirely, just for the purpose of hunting and traveling through the area. And then there's certainly all kinds of benefits to hunters themselves. They're not going to pay and invest in those activities if it's not something that they enjoy doing. So if nothing else, we can see all the dollars they spend as an indication that this is something they get a lot of enjoyment out of.
Before I started learning about hunting, and before I was a Glasson Scholar, I had no idea that hunting contributes to conservation. I think that that's a really important thing to teach people, that conservation and hunting are linked. It seems like such a funny thing, doesn't it? I think educating people about the benefits of hunting and how safe of an activity it actually is very important.
There are certain things that we can regulate for. The agency has a responsibility to try and manage the natural resources, the wildlife populations as a whole. In some instances, we try and regulate behavior because you don't want to have hunting have very negative perceptions. The public as a whole doesn't support hunting. They might move to restrict it or ban it completely, and then that really removes an opportunity to successfully manage populations as well as provide recreation for the hunting base.
Today we're at the Rockford Sportsman's Club instructing hunter safety, and the portion I'm doing deals with fence crossing, proper techniques for fence crossing, and we also get into asking permission for landowners to hunt on their property.
There's a lot of still legal ways that you can hunt that some folks might disagree with or think isn't proper or is proper. And we don't have as many rules in place to restrict a lot of individual behaviors for things like that. So it's required, for example, for you, if you're hunting on someone else's land, to get permission from them. There's good and bad ways to go about, doing that.
Hi, I'm Jackie. We'd like to go hunting on your property for, what are we hunting for, boys? Rabbits.
Rabbits?
Please.
Okay.
Yes, we'd just like to go for the day.
Okay. Yep, that'd be great.
We have what are called conservation officers do our enforcement of the hunting rules, and as well as really they're commissioned to enforce any state laws and regulations, but they're our primary force for enforcing hunting rules.
Has everybody heard of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, DNR? Everybody's heard that? Okay. We have a fisheries division, a wildlife division, a parks division, an outreach, and then the law enforcement division. So those other divisions kind of come up with rules and laws, and then it's our job to enforce them, okay? Does anybody know the law on hunter's orange? If I was out in the field and let's say this hat was orange, and this is all I had on, is that enough hunter's orange to meet the hunter's orange requirement? What do you guys think? Yes? Okay. What if I'm out and I have a camo hat, camo coat, and bright blaze orange, as orange as the vest and the back pants? What do you think about that? Is that good? Nope, that's wrong, okay? It's got to be your upper half. Opening day of firearm deer season, there's 750,000 people out in Michigan hunting. We want you guys to be visible. We want you guys to be safe. If you don't know, don't shoot, that could be the same thing. You're out hunting at night, and you see that gray shadow coming across the field, and I think it's a deer, but maybe it's a person. Let's not shoot, okay? It's part of being ethical. If you can't make out the animal what it is, if you can't see what's on its head, don't shoot. It's hunting, it's not killing. We're not just going out to kill stuff, we're going out to hunt. So yeah, it's important to be ethical. It's important to know what you're shooting at. I'm sure that's what they've been teaching you at Hunter Safety, and we preach that too. You need to know what you're shooting at, okay?
Cool.
This is our shotgun shooting exercise. What we're doing here is each of our students will have a chance to take 2 or 3 shots at a clay pigeon. One thing we have found is that a lot of students taking hunter safety do not have much experience with shotguns.
Go ahead and grab this Mossberg 20 gauge slide action. Careful with the muzzle. Are you ready? No. You nervous about it? Take a break. Lower it down. You're not comfortable with it? You want to try to avoid that? No problem.
This gives them a chance to actually shoot at a moving target, very similar to if they were shooting at a pheasant or a partridge or even a rabbit. So we're trying to simulate the kind of shot they're going to get when they are hunting.
Nice job, Zach. All right.
In order to pass the hunter safety class, our students need to pass a 50-question multiple choice test. The funds for that come through what's called the Robertson-Pittman Act, or Robertson-Pittman Fund, which is an excise tax on firearms, ammunition, and archery equipment. That excise tax helps pay for things like this hunter safety class and also helps the Michigan DNR's conservation efforts.
I think that the hunting at the ranches and the hunting everywhere else, to me, is degrading and violent. And it's a disrespectful way of treating an animal, and it's unnecessary. I mean, we're not living in the pioneer times where, for some reason, people were sustaining themselves.
My main argument for them is, for anti-hunters, is that there's no anti-hunter out there that cares about animals like I do. I mean, I'm the one who's out here spending hours and hours and hours making sure that these animals have food for the winter, you know, making sure that they have good bedding area, that there's water for them. They don't get that, you know. They see the complete act of us just harvesting and shooting that animal, and it's not the most happy thing in the world by any means, but you know, it's a part of it.
I think that a lot of the misconception comes from either having no knowledge and basing what you see off the media and media portrayals, or it comes from negative experiences. There are very few positive portrayals of hunters for children. It's kind of difficult when you see Bambi as a kid and you're, you know, a little bit traumatized because they shoot Bambi's mom. And then I was watching a movie and it's about a buck that's running for his life from a hunter who's shooting him out of season. And I think that the portrayals of hunting are somewhat negative in our culture.
So people have like this misconception about hunters as like this like camo wearing, you know, dip spitting, big truck driving, you know, redneck, just super, you know, let's go shoot ourselves a deer and eat it, you know. And if you look at me like outside of this, like I actually don't like to wear camo in public. I don't.
In order to be a hunter, you have to know about the animal, the species that you're hunting. You have to know about their biology. You have to know about what they eat. You have to know how they travel and how they move. So I would say many hunters are experts on like biology and ecology of a species because they have to know that in order to know where the animal might be at a certain time or how the the ducks may fly into a lake. They become experts in studying the species, and I think that they do it because they love the species, similar to the way people who may be anti-hunters love a species. I think hunters have a similar love for the species.
I do feel that there are a couple negative hunter perceptions that end up spilling over and pertaining to the entire population of hunters. And having learned a little bit more about hunting and having met a lot of hunters, I can honestly say, in my opinion, that 99% of the hunters that I've met are ethical, great people.